Hi, this is Thomas. Welcome back to the course Principles of Management. Today's lecture is on communication and motivation. Starting with communication, the interpersonal communication process. Anytime we're communicating, whether it's to one person or a group, we have a process that we're going through, beginning with the sender. The sender has information they want to convey, and they prepare and send a message with that information. The medium the sender uses drives the effectiveness of the communication. The medium could be a telephone call, it could be an email, it could be a letter sent through the postal system, etc. The receiver receives the message and then interprets the message. So the message received isn't necessarily the same as the message sent. The reason is there are factors that we call noise throughout this process. Noise are the factors that hinder the original message from being accurately and completely communicated to the receiver for various reasons. So it's possible that, for example, an oral message that is delivered might not be delivered in the first language of either the sender or the receiver, and that creates some noise such that the original message is distorted and isn't the message received by the receiver. Another possibility is that in an email communication, depending on how an email is structured, what words are used, if capital letters are used, if punctuation is or isn't used, then the meaning might not be completely clear, and the message received could be different from the message sent. The understanding of the message by the receiver could be different than the meaning of the message delivered by the sender. At the organizational level, we can consider 4 factors regarding organizational communication. First, is communication done on a formal or informal basis? Some organizations emphasize formal communications so that there is a clear process that is used to communicate information to employees of the organization. Others use informal processes so that communication might be communicated through different means at different times to individuals or groups, not always using the same procedure. The direction of communication flow refers to whether the communication, whether information is moving top down from the management level down to the employee level, or bottom up from the employees up to management. Most communication is downward, although on occasion there is a need for upward communication as well. Organizational communication networks is, in a sense, a combination of whether communication is formal or informal and the direction of communication flow. As an example, or 2 examples of networks, an organization could be structured so that when official announcements are made, they come from one individual, a senior level of management, and go to all individuals of the organization. Or, as an alternative, a structure could be that a senior executive shares information with middle management, and then at the middle management level, the information is then shared with the lower levels of the organization. Those are 2 different types of communication networks. And finally, workplace design and communication. A common trend in organization structure is designing the physical space of a company to create more opportunity for informal interaction among the employees so that they get to know each other, they become more comfortable with each other, and they share ideas with each other that ideally will lead to improvement in organizational performance. Now let's move into considering motivation of employees. And one of the classic motivation-related theories is Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which addresses 5 needs of an individual, building from the lowest level, physiological needs, air, food, and water, up to safety needs, the need for physical protection, then to social needs, the need for friendship and affection, going on to esteem needs, the need to be recognized, and self-actualization needs, the need to achieve goals and experience a sense of fulfillment. The higher up in the hierarchy you go, the more abstract the needs become, and to the extent an organization can meet all of these needs, then the organization will have an employee that has a strong connection and commitment to the organization. Another classic theory regarding motivation is McGregor's theory X and Y. Theory X states that workers don't like work, and as a result, in order for them to do work, they need to be closely monitored and controlled. Theory Y states that workers do enjoy work, they want responsibility, and that means that they need less monitoring and control because they're motivated by their own internal desire to participate, have responsibility, and make a contribution to the organization. And we can also look at contemporary theories of motivation. Goal-setting theory says that the primary driver of performance is goals. An employee that has meaningful goals will work hard to achieve those goals, more so than an employee who doesn't have a set of goals to work towards. Reinforcement theory states that reinforcers drive performance, and in particular, immediate reinforcement, getting a reward or getting paid quickly for, or getting recognized quickly for performance is the idea behind reinforcement theory. These quick reinforcers are what drive employees. Next, equity theory. Fair treatment drives performance. As an example of the concept of fair treatment, an employee receiving $50,000 a year for a job might be more satisfied if other employees doing similar work are receiving $40,000 a year as compared to the employee receiving $80,000 a year for the same work, yet other people are receiving $100,000 a year for similar tasks. So the idea is that while $80,000 is more than $50,000, if the employee sees that their number relative to others is low, they'll feel like they're being treated unfairly and they will be disincentivized. Whereas if they feel they have fair treatment, they'll be motivated to perform. And finally, expectancy theory is, in a sense, taking all of these theories into consideration. Expected personal and professional outcomes are the drivers of performance. And here the line of thinking is something along the lines of, how hard do I need to work to achieve the desired outcome? And what will I get when I realize that achievement? And how will that realization help me in achieving my personal and professional goals? Being able to design motivating jobs is important for a manager, and several concepts relating to job design we'll discuss here. One is job enlargement. This is increasing the scope, increasing the breadth of the work that an individual does, giving them more work to do. Job enrichment is giving an individual more autonomy and authority, so making the work deeper for the employee. And a comprehensive tool for job design is the job characteristics model, which is based on 5 factors. Skill variety, which is the extent to which an employee is engaged in a variety of activities. Task identity, the extent to which an employee is working on a complete task as opposed to just one component or one part of a task. Task significance, how important is this output for the organization and its customers? Autonomy, to what extent is an employee able to work independently? And feedback, what kind of information is the employee receiving based on their performance from management and the organization? And finally, let's look at some current issues in motivation. Motivating in a challenging economy. As the result of the financial crisis of 2008, companies more and more are looking for non-financial incentives to motivate and retain employees. Managing cross-cultural challenges. More and more we live in an international globalized world, and people are working in companies that are multinational. People are working in countries that aren't their country of origin, and this requires management to find ways to motivate people who don't have the same backgrounds, don't have the same philosophies, and don't necessarily have the same desired outcomes from what they receive from their employer. Finally, motivating unique groups of workers. At the international level, we see diversity, but also, particularly in the Western countries, we see diversity at the national level. More and more people are becoming individualized, choosing different priorities, choosing different ways of balancing work and personal lives, and as a result, companies now are dealing with a situation in which not every individual, not every employee has the same motivations, has the same priorities, has the same goals, and companies need to think about and find ways to motivate people who are unique relative to the traditional group of employees that work at an organization. This concludes the lecture, Communication and Motivation. Be sure to be in class when we work through these concepts in our case study analysis. I look forward to seeing you then.